You have done the research, you have pitched yourself, and the host said yes. What's next? This video is gonna help you preparing for your podcast interviews. The first item of our checklist to prepare for a podcast interview as a guest is to make sure that you have put the date and time in your calendar. Whether the host used your scheduler, you used his or her scheduler, or you simply agreed over a date and time by email, make sure to add that into your calendar, whether it's Google Calendar or something else, and add a reminder. The next thing is to make sure that you and the host are connected, whether Skype is the tool you guys are gonna use for the interview, Zoom, or any other software. Make sure that the two of you are connected or that you have received instructions on what tools is gonna be used and how you can join the call at the date and time you guys agreed on. This next point is very important, especially if this is the first interview you do as a guest. You want to check your recording space. Whether you're recording at your home office, at an office, co-working space, or at the studio, you want to make sure that the room and space you pick is the best one in terms of sound quality. And how can you know that? You have to test things out. The best way to do that is set up everything as if you were ready to record, hit record, be completely quiet, record a moment of silence, let's say 10 seconds. After that, start talking, say something for another 5-6 seconds, and then stop. Plug in a pair of headphones and listen. First, the part with the silence. Does the room sound quiet? Or perhaps there is some background noise. Maybe you hear some air conditioning, a heater, or maybe the building you're recording at is next to a busy street and one can actually hear cars passing by. Recording the silence is gonna help you with that. The second part is actually with your voice. How do you sound? Does your voice sound okay? Does it sound echoey? Does it sound as if you're recording from a bathroom? Doing a quick test is gonna help you identify the best room to record in and the best space to record in, because a room may be pretty big. So if you're wondering, should I go to that corner, this corner, in the middle of the room, the best way to know that is to do a quick check. Next up in our checklist of things to do to prepare for an interview as a podcast guest is to simply make sure that you have received the questions or pointers, or that at least the host has given you an idea of what you guys are gonna talk about during the interview. Ideally, you want to take a moment to listen to some of the previous episodes of the show you're going to be featured on. And that's important to get an idea of the host's style and also to make sure that you are clear with the quote-unquote lingo, terminology, or even the format of the show. Jolly Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, for example, refers to his listeners as Fire Nation. And guess what? If you are interviewed by John and you show up and say, well, John, your great listeners, may sound as if there is a little bit of a disconnect. On the other hand, if you say, hey, Fire Nation, people know and they're gonna feel as if you're a part of the community, of the conversation. And also, it's important to listen to some of the past episodes because there may be some questions or segments for each episode that are always the same. And if the host asks a question to every single guest and there you come and you're like, oh, I've never thought of this before, people may feel like, well, this sounds a bit weird somehow. So make sure to spend a moment to listen to some of the previous episodes so that you're familiar with the show, the community, the format, and the style of the host. As you listen to past episodes and you're thinking about your upcoming interview, what you can do is also write down some notes. Perhaps there is a specific case study or a couple of examples you think would be relevant for the interview and for the bigger picture they show. Make sure to write those down. You can use pen and paper if you want, or use something like Word or Pages if you're on a Mac. My go-to tool to do that and bunch of other things is actually Trello. So if you haven't found a tool you're satisfied with, definitely take a look at Trello and make sure to write down some pointers, some case studies, some examples, some stats, some facts, some research data, whatever you need to make sure that you do a great job during the interview. If you want to leverage the interview to grow your email list, make sure that you have set up a landing page. Consider using something like Pretty Links or Bitly to create a customized link, a link that is going to be easy for podcast listeners to remember. If you intend on using SMS marketing, make sure that you have everything ready to go so that during the interview you can mention the specific landing page or keyword for your SMS marketing campaign so that listeners know what steps they need to take to join your email list and get whatever freebie you may be offering in exchange for their email address. This next one is actually a sort of bonus in a way, an add-on, and that is send out a tweet or schedule a tweet or Facebook post or whatever to let people know that you're about to be interviewed for the specific show. So this way you're gonna help start building awareness around the show and the interview even before the interview is actually being done. Everything I've shared with you in this video is what you need to do to prepare for a podcast interview. If you're planning on doing a video interview, the steps are the same. The only addition has to do with this, with the visual dimension. In that case, you want to double check your webcam, the lights, the background of the room you're going to be recording on so that you're going to look great. Congratulations! Now you're ready to rock your podcast interview.